Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I am your host, Kevin Powell. Got a heavy band for you this time, and I am stoked because, you know, I've been making my rounds, talking to the bands that played at Inkarceration Fest. If you haven't noticed, I'm having a lot of fun doing that. I had a lot of fun at Inkarceration Fest, and these guys are no different. Right now, I have the guitar player from the band Last of Our Kind.
My fucking headbanging friends, please welcome these guys to our fucking reformatory stage here at Inkarceration 2023, Last of Our Kind.
Daniel Maldonado. How you doing, Daniel?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Fantastic. So here's what's funny about, I don't want to say like technology, but how like things have progressed over the years. I have slightly heard of you guys before Inkarceration Fest. And as I was driving through, listening to the official Inkarceration Fest Spotify playlist, there you were with a new song that I didn't hear. I was like, "Ooh, what's this?" And I turn it up in my car and I'm like, this sounds great. This is right up my alley because I love heavy music. I love all kinds of music, but I really like heavy music. And now I know more about you guys. Like the EP you just got put out, Mental Anguish. You had an album. You know, I'm sure you guys had a blast at Inkarceration Fest, right?
Oh, it was so much fun.
Well, tell me about it. You know, how'd you get on? Tell me about day of. You know, well, first, tell me about hearing the news that you're going to be playing Inkarceration Fest 2023.
It kind of started. So, our vocalist Trip, he actually worked in, I think, like a rehab out here in Oceanside, and a buddy of his, I think from AA, he ended up being the stage manager for the main stage. His name's Adam. Yeah, Adam. He actually hit up Trip and was like, "Hey, I'm going to put you guys on some stuff." We didn't hear back from him for like 6 months. And then like out of nowhere, he's like, "I put you guys on Inkarceration." I was like, "Oh shit." Hey. So, okay, cool. And then we kind of didn't really know what to like expect. And then it was like finalized. And then it was like the day that they sent out like the flyers to us and everything. And I was like, "Oh my God, we are really on this."
And that's awesome. Where are you guys from, by the way?
Temecula, California.
Okay.
So Temecula is like in between like LA and San Diego.
So what'd you guys do? Did you drive? Did you fly down?
We actually drove. We drove.
Oh.
It was a whopping like 30, almost 40 hours total.
Oh.
And then we ended up having a flat somewhere in Kansas.
Before or after?
Before.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so we were on our way out there, and I was like, I really hope that nothing bad happens on like our way out there. Wow. And then I woke up from like a nap, and they're like, "We got to change out like the tire," and I was like, "Shit."
Well, at least it was a tire, and it wasn't like, "Hey,
exactly,
engine's gone."
Exactly. No, that's true.
All right, so you did the 40-hour drive. You pull up to Inkarceration. Walk me through the day.
So we actually got there. We ended up getting there Thursday, so we were able to go all weekend.
Okay, nice.
So I basically just talked and networked as much as possible. I mean, I've been going to festivals and stuff for years now. I mean, I have so many friends and a lot of like the bigger bands, so I've always like gone with them. But yeah, showing up, it was cool because I mean, that was our very first festival ever. Okay. And that was our very first show outside of California.
Whoa, nice. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it was a big deal for everyone. So showing up was super rad. Seeing a lot of friends I haven't seen in maybe a couple of years or so. It was super cool. Yeah, like the day of, I mean, the nerves were kicking in a little bit. I mean, I don't really get nervous as much anymore. But that day I was like, oh, wow, we are about to play our first festival.
So here's something I've always said. I think I picked this up from some like high school teacher. I might be wrong. I don't remember. It's been a long time. Being nervous is not a bad thing. That just means you want to do well. So being nervous at this big festival, hey, that makes sense.
Yep. Absolutely.
And you guys play the reformatory stage, and it looks like you had a pretty big audience in front of you, right?
Yeah, we actually headlined that stage that Sunday.
So tell me about, playing and performing. Now, I've talked to other bands so far, and I just kind of want to get your story as well. From what I've gathered and my experience there, just walking around, talking to security, talking to some of the event managers, everything was very on point. Everything was very professional. Everything was very smooth sailing. So I'm guessing you guys probably didn't have any issues whatsoever, right?
We didn't have any problems. I mean, I think the only problem that we had was like checking in on that Friday to get our passes. It took a little bit, but I mean,
Right.
like they pulled up and they're like, hey, are you guys from Last of Our Kind? I was like, yeah. And they're like, hop on. But I mean, after that, I mean, everything was perfect. Security and everyone was super cool. It was very cool for us to see all of that. And I mean, like experience it. And yeah, I mean, it was a very fun experience. I mean, just like all together.
And I'm sure not just me was pulled in by you guys. I'm sure you gathered quite a few fans from the festival.
Oh, yeah. We had about probably 40 minutes of signing and taking photos after our set.
Whoa.
So that's cool. Yeah, just a bunch of people that have like, I've heard of you guys. I've actually never heard of you guys. A lot of people were from like, hey, I was just here trying to grab like a shirt or something. I saw you guys. I stopped. I was here for like the entire set. It was super rad.
Now, some people told me they're like, oh, yeah, that merch line was so long. Yeah, but you have to think about it from the band's perspective. That is like the best spot, because what if you have no idea what's going on? And what else are you going to do other than just stand in line? Well, let me see what this
exactly
band
what I
is
was
doing,
saying.
right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. I'm like, even if people aren't there to see us, you had like the tent, everyone was just chilling, shade. Then you got people in line for merch, and it's cool because I mean, like, then they can at least see some new bands. I mean, I can't even tell you how many bands I've seen like by accident that I'm like huge into now.
Oh, yeah. Back in the Warped Tour days, that happened with me with the band, I think 68. They were throwing their guitars up in the air when they were just playing. And I was like, I just stopped what I was doing. I was like, we have to watch this band. And it's just one example of many, just like you said as well. Now, with Inkarceration, it's come and gone. What else do you guys got coming up the rest of 2023?
So we are actually opening up. So Angel Maker just announced that tour.
Yep.
Vulvodynia, and a few other bands. So we are actually opening up the LA show for them. That's September 19th. We actually just started to get managed from Brandon Chiappetti from Bleeding Through.
Ooh.
Yes. So
Very nice.
we kind of are in the works of a bunch of stuff right now, but because of this last festival, we're kind of in the works for like some other big things as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm in the process right now of actually doing album 2. So Aaron Shaparian, I think on Instagram, it's
Aaron, dude, he's the man.
So Aaron's been our producer for our Deep Woods album and then our Mental Anguish EP. I've been working with Aaron for like the last like 3.5 years.
Let's
Aaron is
go.
awesome. Aaron's awesome.
I'll have to BS with you after the interview about Aaron, because I was
Yeah,
actually
dude,
thinking
absolutely.
about going with him for
Dude,
our
I
recordings.
highly recommend. I become such a better like all around player because of Aaron. So
He has really great like YouTube streams too, where he's just like fiddling
Mhm.
around for like 2 hours, and I'm like, yeah, like you said, I learned a lot from him.
that dude could play anything.
Right now, I'm talking to Daniel Maldonado, and he's the guitarist from Last of Our Kind. You were talking about Mental Anguish, and you were talking about I'm writing album number 2. What all do you do with the band? Do you just do guitar or?
So I only play guitar. We started out as a 5-piece. Our bass player, Adrian, he was actually our second guitar player. And some reason, I don't know why, a bass player could not just stick with us. So finally we got to the point where we're like, dude, let's just stay a 4-piece. I mean, it's been us 4 from like the get-go.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, you want to play bass? And he's like, I'm down. First show, I think he played on bass. He's like, dude, I love it. So I'm like, perfect. So,
Yes.
Yeah, just guitar for now. Kind of trying to experiment with some other like clean singing and future stuff. And
Okay.
yeah, we kind of are trying to like expand, not really stay in like the heavy, I guess, like category, not really label ourselves as like a deathcore band. We're trying
Don't
to
want to
just
stay in the box forever.
Yeah, like I want to play with anyone and everyone. I mean, I want to expand. So yeah, we our second album so far is definitely very experimental, and it's got elements of just about everything, which is cool.
When it comes to writing albums, I like talking to bands about how they go about it. There's like a million ways to do it, and none of them are wrong. There's always like a great outcome, no matter what, whether it be live or it's just one person or whatever. How do you guys go about your writing process?
So Aaron and I actually talk, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 times a week, and we usually bounce stuff just back and forth. Yeah, so I mean, it's basically just been like a mix, and then Trip does like his stuff whenever everything's like finalized. So I mean, like the cool thing with like Aaron is like he'll send us back like a mixed and mastered, pretty close to it, without all like the vocals. So we'll usually have everything pretty much set in stone before we do all of the vocals. So yeah, I mean, it's just really, I mean, like Aaron's like the 5th member, like ultimately, and I mean, again, like he's helped me out a lot. So like him and I have just been going back and forth, just sending stuff just like back and forth and figuring out what's going to work on certain things and like what's not, I guess.
And he's the right guy for the job. He's been doing this for however long, and he's worked with all kinds of different bands. He's in a band himself, so he's got his stuff down. So shout out to Aaron for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely shout out to Aaron.
Now, for the guitar techs and the guitar nerds that watch this, what kind of guitars do you like to use? Why?
I have been on a Jim Root Fender kick lately.
Yes. Okay.
We usually play 7 strings. I'm actually playing the Mark Hellman, the new Rhodes that he just came out with.
Okay.
Shout out to Mark. I love those boys. Yeah, I've just been playing that lately. I have a Jackson Warrior, the Dave Davidson, that I actually had custom painted as well. But dude, I've been on a Fender kick lately. And cool thing about Fender is like they own Charvel and Jackson, so I can pretty much play all 3 and be cool with it because I mean, I like to bounce around a lot, but I mean, at least a company that has 3 under them is awesome. And I mean,
Absolutely.
like, they're very fun guitars to play and great guitars to play.
Now, how about your live rig? What are you running?
I'm actually just running a Kemper, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I got all like the Will Putney tone packs, and dude, just been blasting all those. I love those tone packs, but yeah, like the Putney tones, you can't go wrong with those. I love
That's one producer I would kill to work with one day. But hey, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I want to say Aaron actually learned under Putney. I could be wrong. But yeah.
He can yell at us if we're wrong, but hey, he can yell
I
at us
know.
anytime.
I'll probably get a text like, yo. But yeah, I mean, I have a very simple live rig. I usually take only like 2 guitars out. I got the Kemper. And then just like the wireless pack. That's it.
Perfect. That's all you need, honestly.
Yeah, super simple.
Now, so you talked a little bit about kind of, a couple shows here and there for 2023. You're working on their album, seeing what's coming up next. Anything you want to say to fans?
I just want to say thank you to everyone who's basically supported us since the very start. I mean, as far as like any other band too, it's like without all like the fans, a band for sure would not be anything. So a big thank you to all like the fans that have continued to support and are going to continue to support. So
what advice would you give to a band that is starting out or trying to break through that glass ceiling and they just can't? What advice would you give? I'm sure you've had all kinds of experiences throughout your life. Any advice is good advice.
Just grind. Like, you're going to hear no before you hear a single yes. You're going to hear so many no's before you hear a single yes. Just keep pushing. I mean, like, our band has only been together for about 3.5 years. And I mean, the stuff that we're starting to do and going to be doing, it's definitely super rad to see. And it's just basically keeping like that ball rolling. So yeah, I mean, just keep pushing and just at least like practice every day. Don't stop.
Well said, Danny. Do appreciate a little bit of your time today. Talk to me, talk to the podcast.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
going to talk to you here in a little bit off air, okay? All right, so that's Danny. He's from the band Last of Our Kind. They're heavy, and hey, they're working on new music, so hopefully you can get ready for that. They do have a new EP out right now called Mental Anguish, and again, it's heavy, and it sounds great. Thanks again for checking out this episode of the podcast. We will see you guys next time.